Hey, it's Josh, aka Spieglass. I recently put up a video where I just played through a pedal with some other pedals. It is the EarthQuaker Devices Arpanoid, and I put it through a bunch of my different effects to show kind of how they play together. This isn't a pedal I ever thought I would have any use for, but I recently rented it from the place that I rent pedals from very frequently, thinking, well, it's EarthQuaker Devices, they're my favorite pedal makers, at least I could say I played it. And it's actually been really inspiring, which is partly why I put up that video. I'll link that below. But I've also started putting together a song with it because I've gotten some really cool sounds out of it that I didn't think I would get out of a polyphonic arpeggiator. As an ambient player, I just wasn't sure what direction I would take it, but I thought I would show you what direction I'm taking it, how it's been inspiring me. Maybe it'll give you some ideas and inspiration. So I'm just going to show you two quick ways that I like to use it in the short time that I've had it. So signal chain real fast. I'll list everything I have below that I'm going to be using, but we're going to go from this to the EarthQuaker Devices Tone Job for boost and EQ, noise suppressor, self-explanatory. I actually have the Grand Orbiter on for a slow phase, just for some color and movement. And then I have the Walrus Audio Monument on, but I have the tremolo depth dialed all the way out, so it's just a clean boost essentially, which is another great reason to get that pedal. It's an always on pedal for me. So let's hop into it. I don't want this to take long. So the first mode I'm going to be in is the second one, which is major, and it's root to +1 octave. I'm going to play an E flat, so obviously you want to make sure you hit just the notes that create major chords, E flat, A flat, and B flat in this case. So here's just dry. So the position switch is in the middle, which means it's going to go up and down octave, which you heard it going up and down there. I can increase the number of steps, I can decrease it because I have it around noon. You can affect the wet and dry signal individually, which will come in handy with the first technique I'm going to show you. And then the rate is what I want to talk about here. So I'm going to turn the rate down. I'm just going to hit a B flat. Turn it down more. So you can really hear each note really well. It's like a second a piece or so. That's kind of what I want. It's polyphonic, so you can hit multiple notes, right? So what I like to do is pad creation is the first technique. I'm going to hit a note. I'm going to let it change notes a couple times and then stop it. Doesn't sound like much like just like that, right? But if I put in anti-shimmer from the Specular Tempus, heavy decay and mix reverb of the Avalanche Run, and some reverse delay, and the Carbon Copy at the very end, in that order. I'm going to do the same thing. Hit a note, let it arpeggiate a couple notes, and stop it. So I think a big thing to take note of is just the difference in sound for me plucking. So say I just arpeggiate this E flat here. Should probably turn that off. That sounds a lot different than if I do this. And the main thing you hear is there's not that pick attack. It softens it. It almost sounds more synthy, right? So I'll put it all back in and I hit this E flat again. Another thing I like to think about is if I choose the direction switch to only go up octave instead of down, you should hear it get brighter as it goes up. So I'm going to let it ring out a couple notes. They're only going to be heading up, and then I'll let go again, and you'll hear this pad sound a little lighter. So that's really nice. Another thing you can do, since it's polyphonic, is I'm going to play octaves of the roots and fifths. So you have a B flat, E flat, B flat, E flat. I'm going to hit all 4 of those notes and volume swell it in. So you could hear there were a couple of the arpeggiations before I stopped it, just like before. The trick is with the volume pedal, obviously you want to get it up until it grabs the signal loud enough to hear, then let it do those 2. It might be harder to hear because the attack has gone down even more now that you're not getting it in your signal at all. Another thing I like to do is if you go to mode 4, it's still major, but it's kind of random. So I'm going to hit a B flat and just listen to where it goes. Turn up the rate, you'll really hear it. So this is the second way I like to use it, embellishments. So I'm going to turn the rate back down. So you never know where it's going to go. It's kind of exciting. So the embellishments are going to be with the EBow and the volume pedal. So what I'm going to do is hold the note down, because obviously I just want to use this to sustain, and I'm going to swell in until it catches the signal. I'm going to let it arpeggiate once or twice and then let go. And obviously I can play with the volume pedal after that to see if I want to increase the volume as it fades to hold a more steady thing, or bring it back down and do another note and really kind of build from there. So this is what I've been doing in the song I've been messing with, is when there's space in between instruments, I've been doing something like this. So there's a lot of different sounds, and it's very like sparkly, and you don't really know where it's going to go in this random mode. And obviously I can change the direction switch. I can have it only go up and only go down again. I have it in the middle where it's both. If I go back to that first mode, and I'll do the same thing real quick. So those are the 2 main ways I've been using the Arpanoid to create these really ambient sounds. The last thing I'll play you out with is kind of like a combination technique. So if I go back to this random mode, what I've been doing is octaves. So if I go to these E flats right here at 8 and 11, what I'll do is I'll EBow with volume pedal, the higher one, the lower one, and then right as I start to hear it swell in, I'll pluck the other one with my finger, which with the noise suppressor sometimes it doesn't work very well. That's just the nature of it. So you can get 2 very different sounds happening. One is a volume swell, one's a pluck. You're doing random, so you don't know what you're going to get out of a lower one and a higher one combined. It's all over the map. So I'll just kind of play with that. Hopefully that gives you some basic ideas. And again, check out the link below to see some more in-depth sounds instead of just the explanation. Thanks.